I felt the woman's eyes on mine as she, too, began to speak in sign. Almost from the first words out of his mouth, I knew I'd been deceived, mysteriously and gratuitously. This could be no one but Charles Adderley. I knew this not by any strictly logical process, though logic certainly played its part. That he was an American was beyond doubt. That was enough. It wasn't possible that two different speakers from America could be spreading inflammatory ideas around Central Europe at the same time. It seems strange to me now, after the event, that this revelation should have upset me so. I simply couldn't fathom why Herr Reichmann had taken the trouble to mislead me. It seemed completely pointless, and it was this pointlessness that stunned me. Luckily, my training didn't fail me. Even if my brain was stalled, my hand continued to work. Adderley's words marched across the page as if awakened by magic, as if they'd been written in visible ink and were being drawn up out of the paper by the action of my pen. I realized I was watching my hand when it suddenly stopped, because Adderley had stopped. I looked up to see a new set of words forming on the screen. Verily I say unto you, again and again and again. For some reason this succeeded in jolting me out of my trance. I'd missed the first 4 or 5 minutes of Adderley's talk. But of course I hadn't missed them entirely. The minutes were there as sort of an echo that I was able to play back for the gist of his message. Adderley was talking about matters close to my life and even closer to my work, and I didn't like what I heard. This wasn't because it wasn't true, but for the exact opposite reason. Because it was true, and I'd missed it. He was making acute observations about phenomena I'd witnessed 1,000 times and never thought to notice. I'd been living like a horse in the winner's circle at Ascot. The horse isn't at all impressed if he receives a royal visit, but this isn't because he's a Republican, it's because he's a dimwit. Everything Adderley was saying was obvious, and all of it was new. This made it maddening, because what is obvious should be old, and therefore well-known, boring, and unnecessary to say. I glanced at the listeners around me, and seeing them riveted by Adderley's words, I wanted to kick them in the shins, grab them by the hair, and shake them, screaming, "Why are you paying attention to this? You know this! You could have worked it out yourself!" But they hadn't worked it out, and I hadn't worked it out either. The stage revolved, bringing me first Adderley, then the woman speaking with her hands. It got so that I hated seeing them coming and going, the two of them somehow being worse than twice as bad as one of them alone. I hated seeing them coming and going, but I also just hated them for what they were doing. They were showing me I was exactly like that goddamn horse in the winner's circle at Ascot. I may toss my head and prance like a champion, but when it comes right down to it, I can't make out any difference between the Queen of England and a stable boy. They had found a sore spot in me that I didn't even know I had, and I detested them for it. They went on for another 40 minutes or so. I heard it all, and I closed my ears to every bit of it, though my hand went on taking it down. Then suddenly the screens went dark, the lights on the stage dimmed, and Adderley and his pal stepped off into the darkness. I got out of there like a drunk who has just remembered where he stashed a bottle. In fact, I needed a drink, but I didn't want one there or at my hotel, where I might conceivably run into Herr Reichmann again. No problem. Munich is a big, big city with plenty of drinks in it.